Hey everyone, it's Trish here, and as promised, I have a few thankful cards for you guys this week. Today, I'm starting out with my favorite things Grateful stamp set. This is one of their mini stamp sets, and this is a one-hit wonder card, meaning that I am just using one stamp set from start to finish to create the card with no additional extra dies or embellishments and so on and so forth. So for today, I'm doing a one-layer card. I'm starting out with a really heavyweight cardstock in white, and I've already scored it to fit the size of an A2 size card, measuring 4¼ by 5½. And I've taken my stamp set, as you saw at the beginning, and I'm taking the flourish part of the stamp, and I've put it on my block but curved it a little bit because I want to use it to create a wreath on the front of my card. So I'm taking that and I've taped down my card base just so that it's not moving around and shifting while I'm doing all of my stamping, and I'm just using some post-it tape for that. And the first color that I'm using is Lawn Fawn Sunflower Ink, and I'm going ahead and just stamping my flourish around it to create a wreath. And then I'm going to go in with my second color, and this one is Lawn Fawn Pumpkin Spice. Now, when I go ahead and I stamp this next color, I'm not lining it up exactly where I had my last color stamp because I want it to overlap in different places, and I still want that sunflower ink to pop through from behind the pumpkin spice. Now you see this card, I'm breezing through it. I'm not even wiping off my stamp set. I'm going from my lightest color to my darkest one, so I'm not super concerned with it. So for this color, I'm doing the Lawn Fawn in Cranberry, and I really just wanted to pull some colors that reminded me of the fall, that burnt orange, that deep red, the yellows, and lastly, I'm going to go in with a brown with the Lawn Fawn Dough ink. This one I did stamp off a little bit on my paper pad, you'll see there, just because I didn't want that red to transfer onto my brown ink pad since this is a slightly lighter brown. But I'm just going through this really quickly. Now you'll see here, I had a panic attack. I accidentally let the block slip from my hands and it got on my card front. Now this was supposed to be a really clean and simple card. I was going to leave a white front. And when this happened, my jaw dropped. I thought, oh my God, I need to start all over again. Not that it took very long, but when you're in a groove, it just throws you off. But I didn't freak out. I just went with it. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking the same flourish, I'm stamping it in the dough ink, and I'm stamping it off once, and then I'm stamping the second generation around the edge of my card. And I really like how this card turned out. This was not what was planned at all, but I just went with it. I could have started from scratch all over again, but I thought, you know what, maybe it was meant to turn out this way. So once I've gone ahead and stamped the flourishes all around the edge of the card, I'm going in with some Distress ink in tea dye, and I'm just applying a light hand around the edges. I just wanted to continue with this distress feel, and so I'm just applying a really light hand around the edges of the card. And then once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and pull back the post-it tape to reveal how the card front looked, and I actually really like it. I left the center of the wreath white. I did not apply any distress ink there because I did want my sentiment to really stand out, and so I left that stark white in the center. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat set the ink because I am going to do some heat embossing, and I don't want any of that embossing powder to stick anywhere where I don't want it to. So after I've heat set it, I'm going to do a test on my card front and apply just some embossing powder to the front and see if it sticks anywhere. If it did, I would go ahead and just brush it off with a clean paintbrush, apply some more heat to make sure everywhere is completely dry, and then go ahead and apply the powder tool again. But since we're good, we're going to go ahead and stamp the other part of the stamp set, the Grateful Scripty word die, which I absolutely love. I just love the font, and it's just so big and so bold. It's honestly the perfect Grateful word stamp that I've seen, in my opinion. I love it. So I'm just really generously inking it up with some Versamark ink, and I'm positioning it exactly where I want. Now you could use a stamp positioner, but because I'm just making one card with this, I freehanded it and just took my time lining it up. And then I'm using some Ranger Superfine Detail in the gold embossing powder, and I'm sprinkling it on, tapping it off, and Then I will go ahead and heat set this. I'm using my paintbrush to just get a little bit of stray embossing powder. Now this happens regardless how careful you are with using your powder tool, but I just brush it off with a clean paintbrush that's specifically for that, and then I'm heat setting it. And that is honestly the end of my card. It is so quick and simple, so easy to mass produce, and I love the way it turned out. That Grateful stamp just really stands out with that gold embossing powder, and even though there was a slight flaw in the plan, I love how it turned out. I really hope you guys enjoyed this card. Be sure to check back soon for another fall card coming your way.